it had stopped singing for a minute to like do something else, and everybody else saw it, and then
Except for him.
we cut it. Well,
Yeah.
that's because when it started singing again, everybody saved on their wisdom check except for Lysander.
I basically was out of combat in charge.
Yeah.
So
You're just like wondering what the hell is going on.
Just like watching people freak out around it. But yeah, they defeated it, and there were some ads of these.
I think I killed one of those.
Yeah, there was these little wretched ads from the Shadowfell. Because it turned out inside the hut, like the large hut behind it, there was like this deep pit and a rolling ball of nothing darkness, and it was a there was a portal to the Shadowfell.
Did we go to it?
You did not. You buried it.
Oh, dang.
Although it was close. I know Chomp really wanted to go through. But yeah, there's this shit. But the party had encountered something like that before once with a green dragon who was kind of insane.
Yeah.
So anyway, after burying it and spending the night, after burying it, the party found a kenku that had survived and was like hidden under a partially collapsed hut, who led y'all a couple days to a huge basin in the jungle that seemed to just fall into the ground, and the bottom of it was obscured by fog, except for this one far off, looked like near the middle of this basin, this large, what looked like a stone formation of some type rose above the fog. And there was a waterfall going down to the basin, and the kenku just looked at everybody and jumped in off the waterfall, and everybody followed.
All right.
And we're gonna kind of pick up from there, because it'll be a good intro.
I hope somebody's ready to fish me out of the water, because I'm in full plate now.
You're in full plate.
It was special water.
Okay.
You bobbed to the surface.
Well, I don't know if it's special water.
And I mean, the middle child had to be bobbed up too, you know?
He's got like flotation bladder.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yeah, he's got like a ballast tank. I don't have
exactly.
that. I don't have that. I just go.
Okay. You did a really good
Thank you.
bar. I'm gonna want some.
Yeah, raspberry bars. I made them earlier.
I'll get one in a minute.
Sometimes I wonder if I didn't show up with treats, if y'all would let me play. I'm like, this is my bribe into the game, you know?
They also need somebody to pick locks.
That's true. I don't pick locks that often. I haven't done that in a
Y'all
long
haven't
time.
come across a lot of locked doors.
Yeah.
I mean, my pick lock is my boot.
Mine's a little quieter.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I started
Mostly.
blasting.
So anyway, I started blast.
That's my philosophy.
You
Yeah.
are the Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
You're even
I'm the Danny
short,
DeVito.
stocky guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
If only I was an artificer.
If only. All right, so falling down, water in the air through the level of the low clouds and fog into this basin. It's a good more than 120-foot drop before, and like there's the initial shock, and then you're falling, and there's enough time for your stomach to like rise into your throat again before you hit the bottom, and it's just into this deep pool of water. And there's it is a little tough for you to get out, I suppose, but there is a graduated like slope that you're able to walk up, and you have a pretty high con, so you can hold your breath for a little bit. But eventually, everybody coming to the surface, you find yourselves on a nicely stone-bordered pool, large pool at the bottom of this waterfall. And as you kind of shake the water off and out of your ears and look up, there is a city in front of you, made of the same purple, dark grayish stone that the ruins of that were around the village where you had the last battle had been kind of built around. There was these ruins around the area. Most of the city buildings are kind of built without angles. Everything's kind of sloped and in circular patterns. There's a lot of terraces with gardens on top of buildings, and then a building above it, and it's built in this odd, kind of organic-looking way. And everything seems to be fairly well lit in kind of the dimness below the fog here by these small, slowly kind of bobbing, floating, lit globes. You see a few people around the area that kind of looked over as you were all coming out in a little bit of surprise, but go about their business. There's 2 huge plate armored Loxodon guards with their trunks even like partially armored, with these large pole axes that are standing kind of watching as you come out. But your Kenku friend, Carrot, kind of motions to them, and they just nod and kind of give you all a sideways look. But, coming into the city, because you have been following Carrot, are you gonna still? I'm guessing everybody's still gonna follow him, see where he's kind of leading you.
By the way, Carrot is a Genku.
Yeah, Carrot doesn't talk a lot, but when he does, tends to be in a mixture of different voices, and sometimes just repeats back what you said to you.
Oh, and Roland saw somebody who came back from our first game ever. And so he accidentally stumbled into somebody else just to make sure these weren't constructs of our mind, but actually real and solid, and they were.
Yes. So, just getting into it, like, before that happened, though,
Yeah.
you all saw just people of most races you can think of. Not like Sigil was, quite. Like, you don't see any infernal races, except for maybe a few. My brain's blanking. Surface was...
Tiefling?
Tiefling, thank you. But no, like, actual demons, devils, things like that from other planes. But you, like, quite a few more elephant folk, Loxodons, cat folk, Tabaxi, as well as some others that look similar but different. Which, of course, you feel fairly at home here. A good number of hobgoblins and goblins as well, but then also elves, orcs, half-elves, you know, scattering of halflings, gnomes, dwarves. And everybody seems to be, I mean, they're all going about their business. There's small markets on some side streets as you're walking through. There's places to eat. Interestingly, all the places to eat, no money's changing hands at the places to eat. Yeah.
Nothing can come good.
Money is changing hands, yeah. Money is changing hands at the other places of sale and things like that. But it seems that food here is plentiful and free. Yeah. Also, interestingly, as you walk through, you see temples everywhere. Some odd temples, like that you did not expect. Temples to betrayer gods. Temples to prime deities. Temples to deities you've never heard of. It's, like I said, an odd place. In some of the markets, y'all catch glimpses of things that you never thought you'd see in the middle of the jungle here. Never less in the middle of a secret city in the middle of the jungle that none of you have ever actually heard of. You see soldiers in familiar uniforms, both Verdant Guard and Tal'Dorei Army, just making their way through the crowd as well. Oddly. At one point, you see the face, a familiar face of Peerful Elatris, the high-ranking member of the clasp that had cornered all of you in the first session ever. But also who you had seen at one point during your time in Amon, and kind of made up with a bit. But he disappears into the crowds a ways in front of you. With that, we're going to come to the present. You're all looking around as you're kind of trying to take all this in. You notice suddenly that Chomp and Crom are no longer with you somehow. They've gotten lost in the crowd. You also notice that your Kenku guide has also lost you in the crowd, and the three of you are just kind of stopped for a moment, realizing that, we've lost people, and we don't know where we're at or what we're going to do here. But, what would you like to do?
Can I see if I recognize one of the... You said there were temples.
Mm-hmm.
Can I see if I recognize my temple, specifically? If there is one?
Yeah, go ahead and make a perception check as you've been walking through, just to see.
Hope Carrot learned what I taught him.
16.
He did. He remembered it. 16?
Yeah.
And separately make a religion check real quick. Like with the 16, you catch sight of quite a few temples.
That's 4. That's a 5. I rolled 1.
Okay. I was just wondering, there are some that you may or may not have recognized. Specifically yours, you do.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go out and say outright, my guy has never gave a crap about any other religions other than his original one and the one he serves now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well,
that probably explains why he doesn't recognize any of the other temples.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Other than the, like the big named ones.
Yeah. Let me see something. You do see a temple to your god. Oh gosh. Need to look something up real quick.
Did either of y'all follow a religion particularly?
Not really.
Okay. Where is... Sorry, I need to find...
I figure probably the quickest way to get information about where we are is go somewhere familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you see the familiar like black hand on a small. It's not a whole temple, but rather a
large shrine.
Yeah, exactly. A large shrine. Like there is a covered area and some columns that come up, and it's fairly sparse. There's a kind of a single incense burner on an altar in the center of it. Nobody's worshiping there at the moment. But,
Is there?
It's clean.
There's no attendance.
not that you can see. It's like maybe a block off down the side street as you spot it. But there might have been like the incense. The incense is familiar to you, and that's what kind of caught your attention at first. So somebody's at least keeping that burning. So there's probably an attendant nearby if you went up to it.
Do y'all want to go that way?
We can, and then Roland's has an idea too. But let's follow your stores.
Okay.
I have no real desire to go anywhere other than everywhere.
Yeah.
You're alone for the experience.
I'm curious about where we're at, and I want to figure it out too. But I'm like trying to get information if we've lost our guide.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is go to something that's familiar and try and get answers.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll point it out to the group and say, hey, we should go down here. Maybe we can find somebody that can answer what this place is and why there seems to be so many different races here with no issues. Because there are definitely some races here that should have issues.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wondering about that too.
Looking around, in fact, as you've been kind of talking to each other and looking around some more, you suddenly realize that some of the people you've seen walking by that look kind of like half orc are not the half orcs that you're used to seeing. They're a little bit taller and thinner, and they have strangely pointed ears at the tops.
Elf orc?
I mean, you're not sure, but like they're not the regular like human orc cross, so they're
They're elks.
Elves.
I was trying to see what the
They suddenly
difference
bugle.
They have their own club.
A lodge even.
Mhm.
Anyway, okay, so you want to go up to the shrine?
Yeah.
Moving up to the shrine, you find. There we go. You find it's there's 3 steps up, and it's kind of on a corner, but has space all around it. But on all sides, 3 steps up, there's 4 fluted columns going up to just a kind of a pergola that it supports and protects it from the rain. And yeah, in the center, a small circular altar, incense on top. The incense burner has the black hand on 4 sides of it. And as you get closer, you realize there is an attendant there, a hobgoblin.
Before I acknowledge him, I'm gonna go up to the altar shrine and I'm gonna make an offering.
Yeah. What are you making that an offering?
I cut my hand and just drip blood into the censer.
Do I see this?
I mean, you're not hiding, right?
No,
You all
because
watch-
I mean, previously, like a month ago, I told y'all kind of the preface about it. Y'all seen me naked without my mud, so I mean,
You've seen
Yeah.
they've seen the mark. I don't think anybody caught what it meant, if I
Yeah.
remember. So you're all still not sure what this guy is.
I was like,
yeah, at this point, I'm not really trying to hide it because I'm already taking y'all to
Yeah.
a certain city. So
And who knows, because Zippel used to just sacrifice hearts of anything that y'all killed to the sun god. So this is like,
religion
all
is
right,
weird.
cool.
Yeah.
You're all pretty much a true neutral party at this point, anyway. Yeah, so you watch as he goes up. Some blood falls in. It's interesting, as it falls into the incense burner, it's like the scent of the incense strengthens for a second, and there's something else added to it. And you're not quite sure of what that is, but and the smoke changes color slightly. As you're doing this, and with a sound going onto the coals inside, the hobgoblin, his head kind of swings over, and he looks over at you, slowly nods, and starts walking over to you. He says, "I am Inad, a keeper of this shrine. Who might you be?"
I'm Gundar, and I have a couple of questions. First off, why is there only a shrine here? Why is there not a temple?
He kind of cocks his head a little bit and half smiles. The shrine is even fairly new. It is only in recent times that we have built anything here. There are only a few believers here in Niirdal-Poc.
How recent is? Did you just say the name?
Yes, he said Niirdal-Poc,
Okay.
which sounds like he's talking about the city. Yeah.
How recent is recent?
5 years maybe.
5 years.
We don't get many visitors. You are a visitor, I would guess.
Oh, I'm not just a visitor.
Gestures at all of you.
These are visitors.
But to the city. This is
Yes.
not many from the outside come here. Trade until recently, anyway, has been fairly self-contained within the jungles.
Speaking of contained, what I've noticed all these races here, and some of them are in open war against each other. Why are they so?
I mean, this is the city of Niirdal-Poc. It is how to explain. This city is one of the most ancient, except for all but one maybe, city on Exandria. It was here before the calamity, even though most of the rest of the world was destroyed. has been a place of shelter for many, many years for believers in anything and anyone. Even with that, it has only been recently that we've been able to even get a shrine here as well. You know, the beliefs of our system don't always line up with, well, this egalitarianness. But we're making headway as we now have a shrine. You can tell that he's a little bit sheepish as he continues trying to talk about this, because he's aware that as a believer, like you might not understand why they haven't taken over.
Yeah.
And
especially considering my status outside of this city.
yes, but he doesn't seem to know who you are.
Yeah.
Like,
which is,
well, and from what he says though,
I'm keeping it to myself, but I'm very suspicious about this because
yeah,
if the shrine is only like 5 years old, then of course my mind's going to, why aren't they expanding? And if this city is so ancient, like I'm a little suspicious about how long, like I'm starting to kind of think that this city's existing outside of time is where I'm leaning towards. I don't know about y'all.
And as he at least catches like the look of disbelief kind of in like on your face, and he kind of rushes to, because you know that like the original Dawn city of Exandria is Vasselheim, the oldest city. It was the first city that was built by anyone, and it still exists far away. And there was supposed to be nothing that survived outside of that, pretty much, save the elves who were able to cross over into the Feywild.
Yeah.
So this is news to you.
Yeah, that
anything survived, like because 800, 900 years ago, like, yeah, the Betrayer gods and basically destroyed most of the planet.
Yeah.
But in fact, you're maybe a week or two from the spot where your god fell.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've never heard of anything like this. And as you're giving him kind of this look, he kind of rushes and he's like, "Oh, you have to understand. The observer protects a certain balance here, and it is hard to push back against."
Who is this observer?
They're the protector of the city. They protected it from the calamity. They protected it during the divergence. They are outside of time and our experience and have been here, some say, before Exandria existed. They provide the light that you see, and he gestures around to the different globes that are floating in place outside different businesses and things, with light, shedding light everywhere.
Has anybody ever seen this observer?
I mean, some people claim to have. There's the statue in the center of the city, and it does occasionally move when no one is looking. There is also the glow, but I mean, we're still here.
Is there any kind of city hierarchy in place?
The Tetrarchs, there's the 5 leaders. They are elected from the ruling families on the death of another one. I mean, there's some kind of big to-do going on if you are interested. I don't know if you've seen, you're not the only outsiders recently to come to the city. There are many, in fact. There's talk of a whole army being allowed into the city.
An army?
It's from north of here. They're humans mostly. It begins with a T. I don't quite remember.
Did you happen to get a look at their leader?
A dwarf. She's got red hair, but with one very white streak that goes through in her braid.
I feel like I should remember that.
Oh yeah. You did see her at least in passing during your time in Karnath.
Yeah.
With the Blue Dragon.
Am I listening to this too?
Yeah, you're all hearing this.
I'm
as well.
Yeah, I'm not hiding.
You don't know.
I'm poking you and
because-
going, Caldorian.
I don't know that person.
Yeah, you don't know
Yeah.
that person, but General Frostbraid is.
Yeah, I just
that's
poked him and said Caldorian.
the kind of the commander in chief of the Taldori.
Where are they staying?
The army, they're being boarded in many different places throughout the city. They've mostly been relieved of most of their weapons.
Forget the army. Where can I find the female
Oh,
dwarf?
where is... I need a name. Alright. I don't have a name. The center of the city, there's a large palace complex. Is where the seat of government is. It's near the Observer Square.
Is there anything I should know about approaching these
I mean,
city leaders?
It's a fairly busy place. Like somebody kicked an anthill lately. I'm not sure you'll be able to get in. You might need an introduction.
All right. Well, thank you. I forgot his name, so.
You can just forget his name if you want.
Yeah, I mean,
Inad was his name.
Inad.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll go figure this out.
And by this point, with your tone and the way you've been asking questions, he's gotten the idea that you are somewhat important in the hierarchy of things. So he's been like wringing his hands more, which is odd. He's a hobgoblin, and usually they're very proud, but he seems and he was when he walked up, but the more he talks to you, the more he's kind of nervous.
Mm-hmm. And I guess when we go to walk away, I kind of turn back to him, and I give him one last. I speak to him one last time, and I tell him, I don't care what your excuses are. These other gods have temples, and I expect ours to have one as well.
He just nods quickly and kind of trips over one of the steps to kind of go back into the shrine as you're leaving. Okay, what do y'all want to do? Anything you want to check out in the city?
I'm gonna ask you, why do you want to go see General Frostbite? Right, wherever her name is.
Well, they've been here longer than we are, and we have relationship with them. Maybe they can give us more information about what this place is, how to get out of it, and just more information than we have.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get much from this useless hobgoblin.
Okay, so now I'm going to look around and see if I can see any, like, I know the class has little signs they leave.
Yeah.
Um,
You know a few symbols and
yeah, I'm going to see if I can see any symbols of the class.
okay. Make an investigation check. Let's find out.
Alright. Okay, investigation. Bless you. 18.
18. Yeah, you see a small symbol. Like, you have to walk a little ways before you catch something down this little side alley on this nondescript door. You see a small symbol telling you that there is a practitioner of the deadly arts that uses this place as a place of business.
Gosh, like anything better to do? Either way, they're good. I'm gonna knock on the door.
Okay. You kind of walk into this little dead end alley a little bit. It's not
Yeah.
very wide, maybe no wider than this table, really.
Uh-huh.
And so, are all of you going in?
Where are we going into?
A dark alley.
Roland was
Tiny
looking,
alley.
looking for a place to find more information, basically, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, looking down this alley, going up to the door, you knock, and then, well, you like do a series of knocks because you're like, you want to make sure that the procedures are followed and the forms are kept. It takes a minute. You hear some movement inside, and then you hear like 6 different locks opening.
Yeah.
And the door goes, it opens up, kind of scraping on the bottom a little bit. And you see in front of you, what do you see? I need to see what you see. Yes. You see in front of you, like you're looking, it's not a very tall door, maybe 6 foot tall door. And as you are an elf, you know, you're close to 6, you're a little bit over 6 feet. And you're used to looking at least straight on, if not down at people. And that's what you're expecting when the door opens. Instead, what you see is a room that opens larger inside, definitely, than you expected from the door. And a figure that's maybe a little bit more than 10 feet tall, hunched over in front of you. The form of this Loxodon, with one short tusk on one side and a broken one on the other. Some gold bands around one tusk in all leathers, with, it looks like a dozen different daggers kind of stowed away in different places. The same side that has the broken tusk also has kind of a torn up ear. And this individual looks like they would have trouble even getting through the door they just opened, but maybe just barely. And they say, yes, and there's just deep rumble in the voice.
Alright, I can't remember. Is the class have its own dialect? I know there is a thieves' cant.
I mean, thieves' cant, there's different dialects of thieves' cant.
Yeah.
There's parts that are well known to, like, all thieves and rogues and things like that, and then there's certain phrases and words that are just for the class.
Alright, he's gonna roll in his best class dialect is gonna say my name is Roland Akamir, and I'm a member of the class from, man, my head's not working today. Not Singhorn.
I mean, Singhorn.
Karnath.
I mean, Singhorn is the
Yeah.
the larger area, so that works.
I would
too.
say Karnath.
Yeah. Okay.
I have come seeking information.
And you say this in thieves' cant.
In clasp these can't.
Class thieves' cant. All right. So there's a few. I mean, there are a few things that would separate it that you're able to throw in there. The two of you, do either of you speak thieves' cant?
Nope.
I mean, I might.
Lysander knows some.
I'm a rogue, right?
I'm just standing there
You're
like,
a rogue? I think you were a bard.
I'm a bard.
Ah, okay.
You're just standing there. What you hear is Roland launch into this kind of long-winded question about looking for musical accompanists, specifically on the bagpipes. You hear, you're like something about that tickles because you speak these cats, so you're like, wait a minute, if this is this, then this might be. But the Loxodon in front of you, these deep eyebrows go up, kind of up. Yes, please, be coming in. This way. And kind of shuffles out of the way for the three of you to come in. Eyes adjusting from the brighter light outside, there's those same kind of glowing, floating globes scattered at different points in the room. Probably not enough. It's a bit of a large, kind of common room almost. Like you didn't expect this to be a tavern-looking place, but there's a bar over to one side. There's a few people sitting down in places. It's just a very dimly lit tavern with a 20-foot ceiling. On the very back right, there's some stairs that go up to a door, and it looks like there's probably a room up there. There's some windows look down onto the common room here, and you realize this is an assassin hangout.
Awesome.
You've seen this kind of place before.
Yeah.
I just see a bar.
Yeah, you just see a bar. It's a badly lit bar, and it looks like a pretty bad dive bar. But yeah, there's sawdust on the floor. It doesn't smell too bad, but it's The Loxodon, looking over at you, says, "Wait there. I'll get licked." I'm picking these names out of a bag, so. And they kind of lumber off after closing the door, leaving the three of you to
And I'm gonna look at y'all and say, please let me do the talking.
I'm just gonna hobble over to the bar and
I'm doing like vocal exercises. Exactly.
The rain in Spain.
Exactly.
I mean, there's some people in here. There's a very badly maintained fire in a hearth over to the side, and there's a few people around, a scattering of tables, mostly at the bar. You could try to perform if you want.
Nah, I'm just gonna annoy people with my vocal exercises.
And I'm gonna tell you, this is not a good place to call undue attention.
Or something. I don't know. Let's go with that. So you're just going up to the bar?
yeah.
Behind the bar, you find a human barkeep, kind of got a pretty big belly under, under an apron, some dirty-looking pants, and he's got some sandals on. Other than that, like he's there. They got one type of ale, one type of whiskey, and it's cheap stuff.
Yep.
It's like a copper.
Yeah, I just tap the bar and hold up 2 fingers.
And he does.
And I'm just gonna find me a
Okay.
spot to sit down and drink.
Cool. Roland, what are you doing right now?
I'm waiting for him to find Blixit or whatever.
Blicked
Blicked.
is what the name he said. I think.
Besides that, I'm just looking around.
Okay. Make a perception check, see what you see. What are you? You're just doing your vocal warm-ups and trying to annoy whoever you can.
I'm not trying to annoy, but I just know that that's what's happening as a player.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That's probably what's happening.
I'm minding my own business.
You're singing pop songs on a bike.
You're like, what's his name to Geralt on the Wiki?
You're, what is his name? Now I can't remember.
I can never remember his name.
The bard.
The bard.
Yeah.
It's just the bard.
Okay,
Yes.
19.
Yes, Gear, that's it.
19 with the perception check. Looking around, I mean, you see the bits that you saw at first. You recognize a couple of the people in here, not like from conferences, not from from everyday work. There's specifically there's a half elf with an eye patch over one eye with this huge scar that kind of goes behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting over at the very end of the bar, who kind of gives you a look. He's dressed all in black and has this long sword over his back, and just gives you a nod and goes back to drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a gnome over to one side with this bright blue hair that you think you recognize, but you're not sure.
Okay.
But I mean, other than that, it's you see the Loxodon kind of moving over and kind of steps up on the stairs, and you hear them creak, and you're afraid they might break because they're not great looking stairs. Like they're built for humans, and kind of shuffling up, like partially sideways.
Yeah.
Just kind of gently raps on the door at the top, and you see it open like a crack for a second, and Loxodon whispers. With an 18 at that distance. 19 at that distance. You can't quite catch what they're whispering, but you do see them, like, kind of, their eyes going to you.
Yeah. I'm just going to stand there until I'm either summoned up or he comes down.
Okay. You're just standing by the door, like,
Yeah.
arms folded.
On high alert.
Okay. So. Yes. Takes a minute. The Loxodon comes back down, kind of gives you a nod, and then goes back over to the side of the door. There's a large bench you see now to the side of the door where you just came in. It just kind of settles down onto it, picks up a good-sized piece of wood, and takes one of the daggers out and starts carving. You can't tell what the heck it is. They're not very good, but they're intensely, just slowly trying to carve something out. A minute later, you hear in this door at the top comes open, and a goblin comes out. Kind of this white mohawk of hair. The right ear has maybe a dozen piercings, none in the left ear, and closes the door behind them, and just kind of down the stairs, comes up to you, says, "Yes, Blicht, the purveyor of this establishment, and you are..."
Roland Akamir's camp.
You're still talking in camp?
Yeah, I'm going to tell them I'm from Carnac.
Because they did not talk in camp to you. They just talked in...
then I meant to say Carnac.
Alright.
Yeah, sorry. From
That's okay.
Carnac.
That's okay. And on hearing this, they immediately kind of do this flourish and a bow to you, and you are very well placed. What can we do for you? This is the Shaky Knife. Our establishment here in the city. There's not much call for, well, sometimes thieves, rarely killings, but I see you've met Pete's Fern. He gestures to the Loxodon behind you, and you realize that Loxodon's name is Peach Fern.
Okay, I am gonna ask him if we can talk, that I need information.
I mean, we can give information, unless it's extremely secret information. We can give you any information here. We don't necessarily need to be private unless you want. It's up to you. You have friends here? Because Lysander's still near you.
Yeah.
And he kind of glances over at Lysander as he still... Did you need privacy?
Not particularly. I just have basic questions.
Please come to the bar. I will
buy you a drink.
It is as for one as of yourself. It's on you. From the sound of it, they were saying that they were going to pay for it, but you realize as you're walking over that they just said that you were going to pay for it.
Yeah. I'm going to ask him. I'm going to tell. I'm trying to build on what you've asked because that was a lot of my questions too. Mm-hmm. Why are there so many different races here?
Coming up to the bar, he kind of jumps up on one of the stools because he's a goblin. He's not very tall. And even standing on the stool, and as you sit, he still isn't as tall as you. But getting 2 ales, comes out, starts drinking a little bit, turns over to you, says, that's the way it has been for thousands of years here. You have to understand, we don't get out. We get some information in and out, being who we are, but not much gets in and out here. It's a very isolated place. You have to understand.
Yes. Well, first off, how much work is in a utopian community like this for us?
It is nice here. Don't get me wrong, but it is not utopia by any means. There are competing factions, there are murders, there are things like that. It's just that there is enough food that nobody goes hungry here. Mm-hmm. That being said,
it seems very tolerant with all the different gods, temples we have passed.
Well, there were originally 5 cities, let me tell you. This was a whole empire. Slowly, the other 4 cities have kind of gotten smaller. There are still communities in those cities. For instance, to the north of here, there's one built around the ruins of one of the old cities that is mainly for agriculture. There are a few villages scattered throughout there. There's one that used to be to the west of here that was the main religious center.
I think we might have been there.
You saw a giant gleaming cube floating in the air?
No, we were at a place with many temples before we came here, and everyone had been slaughtered. And there we met a ranger who brought us here.
Many temples. I'm not sure. No, there's actually no one left in that city, so that would not be that place.
All right.
The only thing left is the I can't remember the name of it. The Hexadrone of Sarkat, a huge floating construct with the symbols of all 6 prime deities and all 6 betrayer gods on different sides.
Speaking of just on a personal interest, is Loth very busy here?
I think there are followers. There are drow here. They mostly, I mean, they like it here. There is not much direct sunlight, so
Yeah.
there is a good-sized community.
Tell me more about the factions.
The factions. Well, I mean, there's the military, which is not as big as it once was. It's being really one city left of the empire, but still, there are some. There are the religious folks. There are, if you've seen all around. It seems like every other corner has a shrine or a temple or a church or something like this.
Yeah.
There is the farming guilds, which have kind of also included some of the other guilds at this point, and they've kind of become a conglomerate, and they are a fair power. And then there are, of course, the academics. So it just depends on. Everybody has their own kind of purview, depending on.
And the oligarchs?
The Tetrarchs. There are 5 of them. There is the main Tetrarch of Niirdal-Poc here, and then a Tetrarch for each of the other 4 cities that used to exist.
So I'm guessing that the main Tetron is the most powerful?
He is first among equals, yes.
How often do they think they're all equal, or how often do they jockey for position?
I mean, it depends. They are elected hereditary positions, so it is difficult. Much of the power structure is the same at all times. Other times, there are things that come up.
And does our guild help facilitate?
I mean, we have. He seems very proud of that too.
Yes.
And the death of a Tetrarch, or even of a lower member of the government, precipitates an election. Depending on the Tetrarch that died, the person that has to be elected, the people running, must be from the same family line.
But there is competition.
There is competition within any family line, and sometimes we have helped with that as well. I
Good.
mean, it's not always someone dying, of course, but
Yeah.
a little poison here, somebody takes a bad fall there. It works out.
Yeah.
But recently, things have gotten a little crazy. I don't know if you've heard.
No, we are very new here.
Yeah, well, an army marched through near here almost a month ago now, headed for the Iron Authority. They didn't seem much interested in us. I don't know if they even knew we were here, but they got a good swath through the jungle.
Are we on the same plane that we were on?
Oh yes, this is still Exandria.
Okay.
This is just somewhere that is much harder to find and has the protection of something. I have never been able to figure that out, actually.
Pocket dimension.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But, yes. But after that army passed, another army and a half showed up on our doorstep. Quite accidentally, although they were actually eventually invited in.
The first army.
Yes.
Who were they?
Well, the Iron Authority. They were mostly hobgoblins. They're hobgoblins, goblins, bugbears. There are different servants and slaves that they take along with them. They seemed to be in a hurry, though.
And they were headed back towards the Iron Authority?
Indeed, they were.
And the Taldori army, because somebody told us that's who they were.
Oh yes, they are a part of the army and a half that showed up afterwards.
Who was the other half?
Well, the elves. Your folk, that were.
Yeah. And I understand that the head woman is staying in a palace in the middle of town.
I mean, there are many dignitaries coming in and out, but there are many important people that seem to be there in the central district.
How well guarded is it, if we should
Pretty
decide?
well guarded. I don't know if you see Peachfern over here, kind of
Yeah.
points over at the Loxodon. But imagine him in plate mail.
Easy to do.
Times about 1,000. That's pretty much the military of Niirdal-Poc.
And how well a job do they do?
I mean, I'm not going to try to go up against them, hand to hand. Of course, I never would with anyone. So.
And one other question. Are there tunnels, anything like that, under the city where one can maybe move discreetly?
I mean, there's always tunnels.
Yes.
No, it's a city. I mean, some of them are going to smell more than others.
Yes.
But yes.
So,
Should you need help,
thank you.
I can get you a house.
And I'm going to give them a gold piece. Oh, no, they don't use, yeah, they do use
So they use gold. They use money here for sure. And
Yeah.
immediately, even with, just like it disappears and you hardly even see a hand move.
I have a question.
Yes. Question from the people.
Is the waterfall the only way out of here?
Oh, there are many ways into the city. That is just some of the younger folk like to use that coming in. It's dramatic. Out. I mean, there's many tunnels that go in and out. There are, of course, different roads using steep switchbacks going out.
That is one thing I want to ask Briggs before I let him go. Do you have a map of the surrounding area? Of the city and the surrounding area that I think we could look at?
Somewhat. Like, I don't have one right now. But he can provide you with one that would allow you to look around, yes.
Because I'm just trying to get this place in my head. Yeah.
So the city we're in is actually like a city, and then there's 4 other ruins around it.
There are 4, like from his description, and he goes into it a little bit more. The entire jungle was once, like 1,000 years ago, maybe an empire that was also fairly hidden at the time, like fairly protected by this whatever entity the Observer is.
Yeah. So the city we're in is one of those 5.
It's the central city of the 5.
Okay.
And actually, as he points them out, like on a map, make a nature check.
Can all of us take it?
Yeah, anybody can make one. I mean, it depends.
I mean, because we're all probably paying attention to this.
Yeah.
Make a nature check, see if you recognize something.
I got a 12, so I doubt it.
Ooh.
17.
Okay.
So 21.
Strangely enough, it is Lysander who recognizes this. Who, in his kind of, sometimes just daydreaming, trying to think up song lyrics and things like that. Sometimes walking, like, as night would come and you're on your watch or something. Looking at them, you recognize an obvious constellation from the southern sky in Exandria. You're not sure what the name of it is. But you immediately like, hey, that's like just there's 5 very bright stars that almost the exact same shape in the southern sky of Exandria.
Okay. I do have another question for that. This city seems like a very happening place, and it reminds me a bit of my home, Sigil. What has caused the diminish of the other cities?
Some say the Observer pulled back influence. Some say the jungle just is too much to hold back. Some of them were fairly damaged during the calamity. However, Niirdal-Poc here in the center was protected. The whole area is still called, but was called then, especially the Conera Tetrarchy. It is generally a nice enough place, but even nice places have their undersides.
Alright, I'm going to tell him one other thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, we have lost 2 of our companions somewhere in the city. If I,
Sure, they'll show up.
yeah, one of them is a barbarian who has a knack for trouble, and the other is a curious little gnome who gets into everything. If I give you a platinum, can you ensure their safety while they are lost?
Ensure? I don't know. Oh, excuse me while I get the coat. But we can keep an eye out. The platinum's gone for your hand. When you look back.
Yeah, because I just hate
Rubby little goblin hands.
Yep,
Just like shiny. Like you're not even sure where he's putting them.
yeah. And I probably don't want to inquire into that one too
It's
greatly
a goblin.
either.
You don't want to know.
That's
No,
how
exactly.
They have pockets in their skin. At least in my head they do.
Yeah.
They're like
Yeah.
marsupials. Except it's just for gold and shiny rocks. Anyway.
My shit, my skin gold.
Okay. Did you ask anything else? Or was that
Yeah, I'm gonna tell him I see an old friend of mine from some killer conventions we've been to. I'm going to go say hello to him.
Okay. Walking up, you gonna go over to
Yeah, the half elf.
the half elf? You know this half elf is named Rathel.
Raffle?
Rathel. Rathal. Maybe.
Okay.
It depends on who's talking. Yeah.
I'm gonna greet Rathball.
Yeah, Rathal. We'll go with that.
Yeah. And sit down and look at him and say, hello, old friend. Or whatever. I don't know. That sounds stupid.
No, I think that's fine.
Remember me? We had some times to die for, didn't we? At those conventions.
He just kind of looks over at you and goes,
So how long have you been in what are Nerdles?
Niirdal-Poc.
Niirdal-Poc.
It's a weird name.
There are something called Nerdles.
Nerdles.
Yeah, there is,
Probably.
and that's been driving me
Probably.
nuts the entire time.
He kind of looks over at you and goes, I mean, it's been a couple of years, yeah.
Is he drunk?
I mean, he's looking kind of like his eyes are a little bit like half lidded, and he's just like looking at you like he might fall asleep soon.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask him how he got into Niirdal-Poc.
I was following a mark and through the jungle, and I mean, it's a contract. And I found the place. And after collecting, I came back because it seemed like it would be a good place to stay.
And is it?
It's nice enough. Work's a little slow, but
That's what I heard.
it's like a semi-retirement. Yeah.
That doesn't sound bad.
No, it's nice. You know.
Is it a little boring here, or things happen?
A bit, thanks to the freaking four-winged cat lady or whatever it is, but yeah.
The four-winged cat lady.
Sounds hot.
You know, the thing that the protector of the city. I don't remember what it is.
I
There's
don't
a
know.
big statue in the square.
Yeah, I've heard that thing moves.
It does. Let me tell you, I've been there. One day it was facing like west. Next day it's facing northeast. You know, then like the hands have changed position. I don't know. Nobody ever sees it move, but it moves.
That sounds pretty cool.
I guess.
So at that point, I'm just going to get an ale and head back over and sit by you.
All right. Okay. So, what y'all talking about? What y'all doing?
Well, you heard the whole conversation, didn't you?
It was
On
at
and
the
off,
bar.
yeah, that's
so
right.
you probably heard bits of it.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you what Irk and I talked about and how there are tunnels under the town if we should need them. And if we talk to General Frostbite, we're going to have to make an appointment with her, it sounds like, because it's very hard to get in. There's a lot of military, and he seems to think we're outnumbered.
Yeah.
As a follower, man. I'm no longer doing vocal exercises, but I am still humming to myself.
Okay.
In writing and stuff.
So you have some information. You might be able to use some tunnels to get into the central district.
Yeah.
Figure out like the central complex if you need to. Your original guide has disappeared somewhere in the building, or in the city.
Yeah.
Your two friends are lost somewhere in the city, and there's a lot of strange, odd things in the city in general. So maybe
Yeah.
continue.
I kind of want to see the statue.
Yeah, same here.
Okay. So y'all want to go out and find the statue? Might as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
All right.
When we leave,
Yeah.
I'll be the last one to leave, and I want to do a very quick few line, sour, dour, whatever. Anyhow,
Okay.
do a quick few line dirty limerick, and then do like a big sweep with my hat and leave. I'm hoping to hear at least a little chuckle as I leave.
Okay, make a performance check.
I can leave an impression. Not great, but 21.
Oh, no. You have a plus 11 to performance?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I use the expertise on performance.
So you think you have just humming to yourself and watching some things around and getting an eye for the audience here. You tell the dirtiest limerick that maybe any of them have ever heard, and as you sweep a bow with your hat and then sweep out of the room, you hear Peach Fern over to the side of the door go, and then just starts like busting out laughing as they close the door behind you, and you're back in the alley to the streets of Niirdal-Poc. Alleys are a little weird here because there are few places that have straight edges, like the shrine did, and a couple other temples and shrines around do, but most of the buildings here have these rounded sides so alleys are almost like hourglass shaped a lot of the time. So as you come up to the wider brim of the alley, you're back on the main street here. You're going to try to find the statue, the observer. All right, who would... do you just want to wander your way through the city, or would you like to see if you can find a description where it is? Or you did see a map, so you have an idea where it might be.
Yeah, let's just go
Toward the
with
center,
that.
right?
Yeah, it is toward the center. Looking at the map, you saw that the city is roughly in like concentric circles.
Yeah, I think we should just wander towards it because we don't want to be looking like the typical tourist with our high socks and our Bermuda shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just want to
I've seen
blend
that
in.
fashion.
Yeah, it's
Not my
scary.
style.
Yeah, I think we should just try to blend in and go towards
But the
the
roads,
center.
there are hardly any straight roads. Like a lot of them kind of wind through in odd directions. And, yeah. Where do you think?
I have one question.
Yes.
When we were back where all the temples were, was there a temple to Melora?
You did see, it was almost like a park. That like had these nice the purple grayish stone walls around it, and like an archway that led into it, and these beautiful trees inside, and dancing lights amongst the boughs. Like you didn't see like a sign that says Melora's Garden, but
Yeah.
you got the like the idea. Like, just by several people walking in and out, like with cloaks made of leaves or feathers and things like that, like druids just going in and out. Like it's definitely the Wild Mother's kind of place. You could go back.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I guess I'm gonna talk to y'all two. Do y'all need me for anything?
Oh, probably shouldn't.
I mean, what's our plan? Are we gonna?
I'll follow you. Because let's face it, I'm an elf. I probably don't need you.
You probably don't want to follow me.
Ah.
Like, if Roland followed a god, I don't know if it would be the Wild Mother.
I mean, you can follow me. It's just you're probably not gonna like what I'm probably gonna do.
Well, then how are you going to manage to get away from us?
I mean, I'm not talking. I mean, I'm just saying to y'all. Do y'all need anything from me? You know, I'm gonna go check up on some things, kind of snoop around myself.
How shall we find you again?
Well, let's say, what can we tell what kind of time of day it is?
I mean, it's hard because of the fog, but you have an idea just based on, when you got into the city and you can still see the sun and how much time has passed, that it's like mid-afternoon. You got some time.
I'm trying to judge how we would be able to tell time here.
It is, like, it's a little hard.
We can meet back outside the door.
I was gonna say we could meet at where the statue is and like.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime you make
A
a plan,
few
you can have
hours.
like a 4-hour
Yeah.
grace period.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works. You'll just catch up with us at the statue.
Yeah.
We'll just hang out there. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so splitting up. You two are gonna go find the statue.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna go check out a.
I'm gonna go back to the temple district, I guess you would call
Well,
it.
there was like there's temples just about everywhere, but there was like a more of a concentration on the edge that you came, edge of the city that you came in through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's go with you first then. We're making your way back through the streets that you mostly recognize. You find yourself, you pass the shrine to your god. The hobgoblin that is still there. He's busy sweeping, but looks up at you and kind of nods and seems to sweep faster. You eventually come to this. It's a fairly large, like maybe a half a city block park, walled in, that seems to serve as the temple for the Wild Mother.
Okay. Along the way, can I stop at the hobgoblin and tell him I need a couple of things?
Sure.
I need a pail,
Okay.
and I need him to basically find ash and coals
Mm-hmm.
and mix it in water for me.
Ash, cold, mix in water. Yep. He repeats it to you, nods, and kind of sits there for a minute and looks at you and is like, "Right now?"
Yeah, right
Oh,
now.
oh, yeah. And kind of runs off around the corner. Are you gonna wait for him, or are you gonna head on?
No, I'm gonna wait for him. I need this.
Like 5 minutes later, he comes back with this bucket, and you can see like he's got some smears on his face, and like both his hands are black. But he comes up and he puts it in front of you. He did it.
Perfect.
Like
I'm gonna
good sized pail.
I'm gonna carry my pail with me to the park area.
Okay. Coming up to the park area, this temple, you see a elven woman in these colored, well, multi-shaded green robes kind of standing at the gate, which is open. Arms just crossed in front of her, just calmly looking around as people come in and out, and she nods to somebody as they come in.
I just bypass her, just keep on. Unless she tries to stop me, I'm just gonna keep walking on. Not really gonna acknowledge her.
No, she did not try to stop you. Yeah, she just kind of watches you come in and then goes back to watching people pass on the street. Inside, there's like a winding path that goes off into some trees and bushes, and there's small huts that seem to be built into the sides of trees and things. Yeah.
Is there any central shrine?
Yeah, closer to the center and maybe a little more than halfway back. In this kind of, I imagine it's about like the dimensions of this center area here.
Okay.
Like as half a city block, and the other half of the city block is buildings. But
Yeah.
going through, yeah, there's like a central shrine with a large, thick, bold tree that's like a diameter of maybe 20 feet across, and it rises fairly high, but not crazy high. It's like one of those banyan trees from Central Africa. That's like it just got the thick bole, and then the spread of leaves that come out, almost like it's very. It looks short and squat, but it's like 20 feet across.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's inside, like there's almost like a natural carving inside to this living tree inside, and there's kind of an altar area where there's different offerings of like garlands of flowers and food and things that have been placed.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I go up to that.
Okay.
I'm so glad.
Is there anybody currently at the altar?
I mean, it's mid-afternoon. So there's a couple people seem to be kneeling in prayer, and somebody comes from around the tree and walks past you back down the path you came up on. There's a few people around.
Okay. But is there anybody like actively at the altar itself?
Yeah, there's like one or two people like at the altar, like kneeling.
Okay. I wait patiently for them to finish up and move on.
Okay, it takes a few minutes. Another elf, maybe 4 or 5 minutes in, gets up, kind of rolls his shoulders, and then turns to leave and kind of gives you a look. Looks at your pail, and then, just kind of walks off towards the entrance. The other looks like they're probably a halfling, in a simple brown robe. Continues to kneel there for a good 15 minutes, but eventually stands kind of creakily up, shakes out the knees a little bit, brushes them off, and just without even looking behind, just walks out and around the back of the tree. And you are currently, this moment you are alone in this area. You hear people moving about on the paths around because it's a fairly busy-ish area, but you find a moment where you are alone.
Okay. I'm not so much worried about being alone. It's just I was waiting for them to leave the altar.
Oh yeah, so they've left the altar.
Yeah. So I go up to the altar and I splash the black, basically black paint at this point, all over the altar and inside of the little carved out area.
Okay. Make a dexterity check just to see how much coverage you can get, like how well you're able to.
I mean, I was going to do more than just spray paint it.
Okay. I mean, what else do you want to do?
I'm so glad Roland didn't follow you.
Just to start.
Are you gonna smear poo on it?
Like, Roland, I imagine, probably has a passing, like probably went to church when he was younger or something like
I
that,
doubt
but doesn't
he-
go
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, it would have been a little hypocritical, but yes, his parents probably
Yeah.
dragged him there for.
But
looks.
most elves follow the Arcart,
Okay.
which is like supposedly like the progenitor of the entire elven race.
Okay, because
from the
I've read
Feywild.
about the Wild Mother before, and that's why I'm sitting here going, ah.
Well, the wild mother, a lot of elves do follow the wild mother, but not as
Yeah.
many as follow the Arcart.
Plus 1, 18.
Yeah, you get some good, like you get the momentum just right, and just this sheet of blackness just like covers a good amount of the inside of this carved out bowl of this tree. Anything? What else are you doing?
If there's like a central figurine for the altar, I'm gonna break it basically.
I mean, there's like a wooden carving that's carved also into like the center of the behind the altar.
How big is it?
The Wild Mother kind of going like this. I mean, it's a good 7-8 feet tall.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my axe to it.
Okay. Make an attack at the tree. I want to see how this goes. Like, I'm not going to have you make an attack for every chop you do, but...
Chester's defilement.
27.
Cooler.
I mean, dick. 27?
And for like, I'm gonna be using both hands for this too. So 27.
I mean, you're able to get...
Basically, I'm looking to chop the arms off.
Yeah.
So
The arms, because they are, like, actually carved out, and they stick out a little bit more. Like, from the elbows in, they're still connected to the tree behind, but the elbows out actually come out from the tree like this. And so within 2 hits, you're able to keep those off.
Yep.
And then you can keep chopping. Although...
no, I wanted to deface it as quickly as I can. All I care about is just chopping the arms off.
Stealth away.
And they rolled something not great for you. As you're chopping off the second arm, you hear like running in gravel on the paths from around, like from several different areas. Nobody's gotten to you yet, but what would you like to do?
After I chop the arms off, I'm just gonna smear my hand in some of the black paint. I'm just gonna call it black paint because that's basically what I made it. And I'm just gonna come out the altar and right where you would walk in to the right, I'm just gonna smack a big ass hand right there.
Okay, that's easy enough. That's not hard.
And then I'm just gonna walk on out.
Okay. Make a deception check walking out to see if anybody stops you or thinks you might be involved in some way. Okay.
19.
Okay. On your way out, like literally as you're kind of turning the first corner about 10 feet onto the path, to kind of get out of a little bit out of sight of this. Three acolytes in those same kind of multicolored, multi-shaded green robes kind of rush past you. One of them kind of bumps you a little bit and looks over at you, but keeps going on. And as you're kind of walking out, you start hearing some yelling behind you, and people are like, "What happened? What?" And just this commotion starts. And you're just walking out?
Yeah, I'm not in a hurry. I left the pail behind, so all I'm carrying, I'm just me.
True. You have black on your hand, though. Somewhat. Getting to the front, you find a group of worshippers with worried looks on their faces, as well as the same elven woman you had seen kind of guarding the entrance, looking around. As you walk by, she kind of puts a hand out before you can walk through and says, excuse me, were you just in here? I mean, obviously you were, you're walking out, but did you see anything, anybody? There's been a defilement of the altar.
Yeah, that would have been me.
Easier than to see them. Okay.
Nah, just I guess I'm just gonna go the intimidation route.
Okay. She is kind of taken aback for a second. Just that's how could you do such a thing?
How could you make an entire altar and expect us not to do something?
Because this is our place of worship. Why would we expect? She can't find words to express.
Well, as long as I'm here, there will not be a shrine to Melora.
Alright. Roll an intimidation check.
$21.
Yeah. She looking at you like you could see like some crackling, swirling sparks of green energy start to form in her hand as she was getting more and more irate. But as you kind of like just deadpan, like threaten, mainly with your eyes, like because you're just saying what is, and like this is, you know, like it kind of sparks out and like fades out, and she just kind of like takes 2 steps back.
I'm not gonna push the matter. I'm just gonna keep going.
Okay. I mean, she takes 2 steps back, and the way is clear for you to go.
I just keep going.
Okay. That's
I did what I wanted to do.
okay. Moving on back to the other group. There are some roles in there that I thought they were going to find you sooner than me.
Nobody cares about a dwarf minding his own business.
Nobody was listening very carefully, so until the very end.
I mean, it is kind of hard to cover up thwack, thwack.
I mean, the sound of an axe hitting wood in a place where like nature is being revered, you know, it's gonna get some attention.
Yeah.
But they
It's a
were
good thing I didn't know any fire spells, because I would have lit the whole place on fire.
You're gonna have somebody pissed off ants after you.
This is where you need a bit of chop along. Just have them cast fireball on the whole tree.
Yeah, I would have really enjoyed burning the tree down, but I can't really chop down a 20-foot tree, so.
It's pretty tough. Okay. I was all ready to have her go after you too. Oh well, next time. Well, now you have lots of friends in the city.
Good.
The other two of you make a. No, I'd say you're gonna meander your way towards the center of the city, so I'm not even gonna have you make a check because it's easy enough to find even asking around. You find your way closer and closer to the center of the city, eventually coming to a large open, they call it a square, but it's more like a hexagon in shape. There are statues all around it on different pedestals and on different sides of it. Some animals, some obviously humanoid. But near the center of the square is the largest statue on its own base. This huge stone statue of a cat-like humanoid being with 4 wings coming out of its back. Around its head, this crystal halo rises that is glowing, and it's cracked in several places. And even where it's cracked, the pieces are kind of just floating, still in the circle of a halo. In the same glow that you've seen from different the globes floating around the town. This, you assume, is the observer.
So, Lysander, what you think? Is she your type?
I don't know.
Racist?
No, I mean, she is a cat woman.
Yeah. Really, it doesn't really matter to me, but
Huh?
I don't let anything stand in my way.
True.
Have a good time.
Well, man, that's a good time.
So, do we know what the heck it is?
I don't know, but you could make a check if you want. A history check or an arcana check.
So tell me either one of them is all that great. Oh, same.
Both of mine are the same, so.
Come on. Oh!
Natural one.
I did that with my religion check.
22.
I'm a paladin.
22.
Natural 20.
So, you don't know anything about this. You looking up at it like you're assuming this is the observer. And they're going to say it's an arcana check for this.
Okay.
Like just
so-
from the magical nature of the, and there's this sense that you get off that like, it's The statue is turned maybe like a quarter turn away from you, but you get the distinct impression you're being watched by this. Even though there's no eyes pointed at you, the glow and just the aura coming off of it, like there is something powerful and otherworldly about it.
You feel that, Lysander?
I guess I don't.
Apparently.
We're being watched by the statue.
I just raised an eyebrow over like,
You're
okay.
paranoid.
Okay.
Okay.
You're a weirdo. Coming from the guy that was doing vocal exercises.
Yeah.
Who did
And,
you get in with
and
here?
like some weird dark dank place.
Alright. Yeah, this is the observer. You see several people walk up, kind of kiss their fingers and like put their hand out to touch the feet, which are about 5 feet off the ground on the base, the stone base.
I'm the weird one.
As they walk by, not like in total like worship, but in like as passive, like as veneration. Kind of. Yeah. But you kind of watch for a few minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes before you hear a clank, 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 and Thundark comes up to your side, kind of wiping off one of his hands. There seems to be some smudges, but yeah.
Thundark, can you feel it? It's watching us.
I'm pretty sure something's watching us in this city.
The observer is watching us. Can't you feel it?
They call it observer, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I mean, it's called the Observer.
But it's also a statue.
Is it really?
I don't know.
I mean, I can just go
Is it-
tap on it with an axe and see
Yeah.
what happens.
You could. I don't know if that would be our wisest
I mean,
with the axe.
I need a lift. I mean, I can't really reach it.
Why don't I just
You hop
do
on
a...
it.
I guess I can wrap my knuckles against it and see what happens.
Okay, you want to go do that?
Yeah.
I'm looking for movement.
Wrapping your knuckles against it. I mean, it's stone.
Mm-hmm.
Strangely, most things in this city are that same purplish grayish.
I can't believe I've missed this. Can I go study the stone?
You can. You're a dwarf.
Yes. That's
You're
why
a
I was
mountain
like,
dwarf, right?
yeah.
Yeah. I was waiting for you.
I was like, I don't know why it just hit me. I was like, hold on a second. I can just go study the stone. And we can really find out, is it a statue or is it something else?
So many pages. Yes. That's what.
Double proficiency bonus on a history check.
Any kind of tours coming through here? Talking about the observer and whatnot.
Like a bunch of tourists with
23?
23. Yeah. Going up to it and seeing like the base and the statue itself, looking at it, right away what strikes you is that it is not the same color stone as the entire rest of the city. Everything else seems to be a fairly uniform dark purple gray.
Mm-hmm.
This looks more like marble, like a nice lightish white and gray marble, and it stands out. Walking around it, feeling it a bit, it's fairly polished, although not like glass. There's still a little bit of roughness to it. And tasting it a little bit, just putting your hand on it for a second, feeling the stone. Something about it. It is stone, like real, natural work stone. At the same time, it's not. It's almost as if the feel of the stone that should be there is different in some way. You're not quite sure how.
So I get like this sense of
It's natural stone, it's also not natural stone. Like it confuses you.
Maybe not a type of stone from this.
I mean, it looks like it is. It tastes like
But it doesn't
is.
look like any stone that might have recognized, I guess, maybe.
No, I mean, it
That's
looks
part
like
of
marble.
the
It looks like straight up like nice.
I just
marble.
get this feeling that like there's more to it.
Yeah, like it's hard to explain. It's like it is entirely normal marble, at the same time as it is not at all entirely normal marble. Like it's everything. All your senses are telling you that that's what it is, but there's something in the back of your head that's just like, no,
I'm gonna start climbing it.
this is not right.
I'm gonna start climbing it.
Okay, go make a athletics check.
I have advantage. 22.
Yeah, I mean, you're able, it's really smooth, but at the same time, like
I'm a dwarf. I mean, I can.
you got a low center of gravity, and you're strong, and you're able to just muscle your way up. Like you grab onto part of like the robe that's on the back, carved, and just kind of monkeying your way up. You get up to, yeah, like I'd say the waist, because it is tall, and you're like at this point about 15 feet off the ground, like, and you're just kind of clinging on to some of it. Everybody around is kind of watching you. Some of them have stopped and they're kind of pointing, but nobody seems really upset. They're just, some of them are laughing.
I'm gonna just try and keep going. I'm trying to get to the head.
Okay. Getting up towards the head, you start up towards the shoulders. Even you start to feel warm, like there's warmth radiating from this crystal above the head.
I'm just gonna start rapping on the ear.
Okay.
It's like
As you reach up to try to do that, like you find that there's almost like the closer you try to get, there's a force, and the closer you try to get, the more the force pushes back until you just can't move your hand up any further. Bring your hand back, it feels like there was nothing there. But then you try to move your hand back, and closer it gets, it just keeps trying to, it like progressively stops you.
I'm gonna try something.
Okay.
I'm just gonna start talking to it.
Okay. What do you want to say?
I know you're in there, and you can't keep it from me. I know that there's something about you. I know you're not just a statue. I can tell.
Okay. You don't get a reaction from the statue.
I didn't think I would.
You do get a sense that something hurt you. Like you were heard. You get the distinct sense. You would swear that it, like the statue might have just turned and looked at you, even though it didn't. It's a disconcerting feeling, both the weird stone feeling, the weird, like, thinking that, like, it should have moved when it didn't, and almost thinking, did it move? And, like, it's confusing.
I just shrug. It's like, you've probably been here a millennia, and I bet you nobody else has figured out what you are. And I guess I start trying to climb back down somehow.
Yeah, I mean, you've made a pretty good athletics check getting up here, so it's easy enough. Not easy enough, but it takes you a minute. You were able to safely get back down. As you do, it's like you don't hear it, but you could swear somebody was chuckling. You can feel somebody chuckling. Just a little like.
Well, did you see did you get it? She's watching us.
Oh yeah, she
Sure
definitely
there's
is.
not more than one person chuckling.
Nope, there's just one.
So, I guess I tell both of y'all, I don't believe that's actually a statue.
I agree with you because she's watching us.
She's got a sense of humor.
Well, that's a good thing. After you climbed up her.
Hey, I mean, I was very cautious not to grope her. I climbed up the side. I went up
the legs and the hip and the side and the elbow. I mean, I spider monkeyed my way up there. I didn't just.
Yeah, like it was
Yeah.
impressive watching him. Like you
Yeah.
didn't know a dwarven plate mail could climb like that. He did. Okay. Getting back down. Let me see something. I need to go in here. Check on this guy, Lysander.
What?
You have the highest passive perception. So, you, as this was happening, you watch Gundar go up and then try to mess around at the top, but come back down. As this is happening, you kind of scan the crowd a little bit, just keep an eye on what's going on. Some people are watching, some people are pointing. There is a group of 3 dwarves in plate mail. All carrying what looks like almost like large identical warhammers. A couple of with shields, one without. They come into the edge of the square as this is happening and they're just watching. And they just see him intent on Gundar as he goes up and then down. And as he comes down, they all kind of look at each other and they walk back up the street they had come into the square on. They stop maybe a block distant at what looks like a different shrine that you all hadn't seen yet because you had to come in on that street. But it's a small, kind of round top shrine with just like one step up. Seems to have a carved symbol just on it, is all, of a warhammer with balanced scales on top.
I know that one.
And they go up and start talking to someone who's sitting on the steps of the shrine. Yeah. But you didn't hear this or see this, so.
No, I'm just saying me personally.
Yeah, you
I
know this one.
I know
But, yeah. But Gundar didn't see any of
because
this.
that's actually my old god.
So you can do that with what you will with that if you want to tell anybody or just kind of like, oh, weird.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who watched them, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's not the only one that watched him for sure. But, I mean, they did. It seemed, it struck you at the time as odd.
How do they look? I mean, they know what they look like. Did they
Like, they looked like
angry, curious?
they were all frowning, and they were basically in a uniform of some type that you've never seen before. With,
They're just jealous they didn't think of it before me.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people in the city. I'm sure
Yeah.
somebody had the thought.
Like, everybody else seemed to be just kind of pointing somewhere laughing. These are the only ones in the entire crowd that looked like unhappy with him.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, you're back down. What do y'all want to do? You've met the Observer. You've defiled the Temple of Melora. You scared an acolyte of your own shrine. You've talked to some of the clasp in the city.
What time is it?
It's getting to be late afternoon at this point. Like, the sun's starting to go down.
I've decided what I want to do.
All right, what are we doing?
Performing the statue.
You gonna busk out here?
I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna try to stay up too. Try to see if I can see it move. Like kids staying up trying to see Santa Claus.
Down in coffee and just like.
Exactly.
All right.
Circus could have done it, but I can't. But I'm gonna do as much as best I could.
I mean, you have a strong will. I'll say you can totally stay up if you want to take a point of exhaustion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay. Okay. If you want to camp out and watch, you can. Easy enough. I mean, and there are like there's food stands and things around, and like I said, the food in the city is free. Like the people selling it or the people handing it out, it seems they're paid by the government from taxes taken in collection, so it's not necessarily.
So it's not a utopia. It's a
Not
socialist.
utopia. It's like a democratic socialist kind of. It's a weird system of government they got going on. Yes. What would you like to do for me?
I'm not going to stand next to him all night.
I mean, you could. You could just be like, so we're watching the statue.
Yeah. I don't know. What are you up to?
I'm just gonna wander around. I really don't know much about this city.
Yeah, I'm going to probably wander with you and figure he's fine by himself.
Yeah. I mean, we know where to find him. He's gonna be playing to the big cat lady.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how I would do this, but I'm going to try to just persuade them to just explore in any direction but the direction of the dwarves. So they don't walk directly.
Without telling them, hey, don't go over there.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know how I would do it.
I mean,
Try to use, their interests and something I heard over here or whatever.
like, I heard there was this. Somebody told me there's this great place over the opposite direction of that way.
For the world's best mud hole over here, and there's like a bunch of jingle jangle over here.
The world's largest ball of silly putty.
I mean, you have.
Something that they would
Yeah, I
like.
thought he did.
You had me at mud. That's true. Okay. Make a.
Because the coming in on the waterfall kind of washed me off.
Yeah, you're pretty well. I mean, you got a little dirty in the temple, but yeah, you're fairly clean otherwise. Make. Oh gosh, because this is you're not exactly trying to necessarily resist him, are you? I don't know.
No, I mean, not unless he makes it obvious that he's just like.
Yeah.
I'll make 2 rolls.
That's what
Persuasion and Deception.
I mean-
want to use my skill at that.
Just make a persuasion check. See how well you do. This will be. Well, we're going to count this as how much you would realize he's trying to get you to not go a certain way.
Alright. 21.
21. Yeah, I mean, he seems to have noticed some things, and it sounds like he just wants you to go that way. Like, it sounds like a great place to go. Whatever it was. The mud pit.
I mean, I didn't really have any plans of going anywhere, so I was like,
Yeah, I
oh.
figured it wouldn't be too hard to actually sway them in any direction.
There's a
But that way,
local
so-
punk rock bar called the Mud Pit that actually has a mud pit in it.
There better be. Or I'm coming back here and I'm going to break that loot or whatever you got.
I think it's a loot. I don't know.
You don't play with mud.
But you're a dwarf, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Dwarf tossing in the mud.
Well, I don't know if you remember. I don't play in the mud.
Oh, I know.
I use the mud to cover up my...
No, I was just thinking about dwarf tossing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, somebody was going to play
you
with
don't toss
you.
a dwarf.
It's true. Why would you? For one thing, it's fairly heavy.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you are camping out there. The two of you
No, I'm
are
going to go
walking
back.
off.
I'm going to go back to the wobbly knife or whatever it was called.
The shaky knife.
Shaky knife.
Yeah. Okay. Going back to the shake, just trying to hang out? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's comfortable.
So
It's
we're all
kind of
splitting up.
Yes, I figured if I'm splitting up, at least I'm going to a place.
We're
full of
breaking the
residents.
critical rule of D&D.
I know.
We're
I
splitting
know
We're
that.
up.
splitting the party into 4 parts at this point.
Yep.
Because Chomp and Crumb are off somewhere having an adventure.
But I at least
Um,
paid for them to try to be safe.
Where's the metal child? Who's it for?
Yeah, the Metal Child, that's a good question.
The Metal Child seemed to have the most relationship with
Yeah,
I
them two,
think-
so I would just assume that it went with them.
I'm going to say the
Yeah.
Metal Child is with them because we're going to go with that.
I mean, because outside of, they've known them two the longest.
Well, me too, but
Yeah.
he's not my we haven't connected on some
Yeah.
level.
I
Yeah.
don't think I've said 3 words to it, so.
Okay, well, we're going to do this. We got some time, so who wants to go first?
I went first last time. One
I'll
of
go
our camps.
first.
Roland's going first. Roland wanders off back along the route that you had taken to get to the square, back to the shaky knife.
Mm-hmm.
The sun is going down. It's a nice warm night out. It's very humid here in the midst of the basin in the jungle with this ever-present fog that's about maybe 100 feet above the ground here.
Yeah.
Some of the buildings actually go up into the fog depending on their size, but because there are some larger like constructs in here. Most don't, but some do. Like, but it's not like oppressively hot. Like
Yeah.
maybe a day in Macon in like late July, which is still pretty hot.
I was
But
just
not,
thinking, that's pretty
but
hot
not
to
like
me.
not like India these days.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen the news. It got up to like a 140 the other day. In
Oh,
India.
God.
It's supposed to get worse too. It's bad. Yeah, no. Like, and that's not just like in one place. That's like in half the country.
Ugh.
In any case, it's not like that. It's warm, but
Yeah.
you grew up in the verdant expanse and on the coast, and so you're used to humidity.
Yeah.
Kind of moving your way through the crowds, which as the evening comes on, it seems like a lot of people are in the streets, and it's a kind of not exactly a festive atmosphere, but people are in a good mood, and
Yeah.
there's people trying to call people in for, like, one street you see there's a whole bunch of people trying to call people into brothels and things like that, and you
Yeah,
make
I
a mental
make a
note of
mental
where that
note,
is
yeah.
later.
I'm gonna get some street tacos too.
Oh, there's definitely street tacos.
Yeah.
There's some good noodle stands as well,
Mhm.
depending on what you're looking for, you know.
Yeah.
Strangely, I mean, there's some of those more traditional, like, elven cuisines that you're not seeing a lot of. Like, it's pretty meat heavy on one side of the cuisine, and then there's another side of the cuisine that seems almost entirely like vegan.
Yeah.
And you could kind of pick up that that's because two of the main races here are cat folk and elephant folk.
Yeah.
And that's where the cuisine kind of comes from. But, yeah, so you get some street tacos going along. I don't know, what's your kind of favorite kind of street taco? What's Roland's kind of favorite street taco?
Probably. I'm gonna say something with like tofu or nuts, like walnuts made into a, you know how the vegan grind up the walnuts and make a paste kind of.
I mean, they make cactus street tacos too.
I didn't know if there would be cactus. Yeah,
Well, I mean, cactus can grow in the.
that's true. All right, he likes the cactus.
Yeah. The Niirdal-Poc.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so you walk along, got some street tacos.
Can I say that I'm working my passive perception though this whole time?
Yeah, what is your passive perception?
13.
13. Yeah, as you're walking along, you're not seeing a whole lot, just a lot of faces, most friendly, some people in a mood.
Yeah.
They don't seem to pay you any mind. When you suddenly feel on your shoulder, like two fingers tap you on the shoulder.
All right, I'm going to put one hand on my dagger and spin around simultaneously.
You see the long blonde-haired, brought back into a ponytail, face of fearful Electress, your sometimes gambling bunny, sometimes mortal enemy
Frenemy.
of the class.
Yes.
And he's got this big grin on. And he says, Roland, what are you doing here?
Can I discreetly check down and see if he's about to put a knife in my stomach?
I mean, yeah, make a perception check to see what you see. He's pretty subtle.
Ooh. 10. 13.
13. I mean, he doesn't seem to be. Like, he doesn't even seem to have a hand on his short sword he carries at his side.
And now, oh no, I don't want to do an insight check. Nah.
He hasn't said much anyway.
All right.
But he says, I was told by a little goblin that you were in town.
Yes. I saw you earlier, but I was not able to catch up with you in time to speak to you.
Oh, it's good to hear that you think of me. Like, you're not trying to stab me anymore, and that's appreciated.
Well, I hope you're not planning on burning any structures I may be in any time in the near future, too.
I mean, I can't make any promises. but not on purpose. What brings you to this out-of-the-way city?
My feet?
Well, what business is what I'm asking.
Oh,
You haven't been very active in the guild lately, and so...
no, I fell in with some friends and we've just been taking a gap year.
All right. That's good to know. Are these the same friends that,
Yes.
Okay.
With the exception of, well, one fell out somewhere and we've picked up 2 others, but they're pleasant.
Well, that's good to hear. So you're not here for the conference then? I mean, it's not a conference like in the business, but there's a large gathering of minds meeting with the Tetrarchs. You're not here for this? There's some people I know you know there.
You know, I could probably schedule it into my calendar if you could tell me more about it.
Just that there's been problems lately, and there was well, the call went out and people have been arriving, and I heard about it, thought I'd come. The guild is currently without real leadership, and so somebody has to keep an eye out for our interests, and I figured it would be me.
Very generous of you. At this point, I want to change back into Thieves' Camp because
Okay.
we're saying way too much in the middle of a street.
I mean, he kind of guides you over to the side. It's still pretty public, but
Yeah.
you're a little bit more over to the side of the street at this point.
And I'm going, actually, no, we're not going to Thieves' Camp. I'm just going to say, you know, I went to a very nice bar earlier, very homey type place.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to take you back there for a drink and you can tell me more about this conference and Power Void.
Well, I mean, yes, let's go. I Blick is actually the goblin that told me you were in town.
I assumed
But
it was.
let's head to the Shaky Knife.
Yes.
And you all do. In the meantime, we're gonna move over to Gunnar.
So I'm heading back to the Hobgoblin and the shrine.
Okay. Heading back to the shrine. I mean, it's easy enough to find your way back.
I mean, I stop and grab some food along the way because I'm hungry. And
Why not? It is easy enough to find the shrine. The Hobgoblin is there, seems to be having his own kind of evening meal. And this seems to be where he even sleeps at night. And he's kind of bundled into a cloak, even though it's not cold. He's just kind of settling down, kind of leaning up against one of the pillars. As you come up, he sees you and immediately puts his bowl down, stands up.
I'll stop him. I'll stop him.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
Carry on with the eating. And I sit down, I guess, somewhere along the steps somewhere. And I just patiently wait for him to finish eating. I mean, I'm not staring at him. I'm just kind of
Even just doing that, like, he's very obviously just intimidated by you, and it takes him, like, just kind of giving you side looks, and eventually he just, like, kind of wolfs down the food and puts a little bit of water in, rinses out his bowl, puts it to the side, kind of just comes over and stands next to you. What can I do?
How many followers of ours are in the city?
Maybe a dozen?
Only a dozen?
It depends. With everything going on, there could be more. There have been many outsiders coming in.
Do you know them by name?
Most of that dozen, yes.
Can you get a message to them rather quickly to come to the shrine?
It could take some time, but I could track some of them down, and as it went, we could find more, branch out. Maybe give me a couple hours.
So I pull out a pouch that has, I don't even remember how much I have on me. Let's see. Inventory. I give him a pouch with 250 gold.
Okay. It's a good amount of gold.
Alright, I subtracted it from mine. I want you to start making plans to expand and start finding more followers. Convert.
We can use this with this much gold. We could expand into the building behind. I mean, it comes up for rent sometimes. Maybe we could even buy the place. And you can see he's just like he's had ideas about this, but like
I leave it to your discretion. You're the acolyte in charge of the shrine. I'll leave it to you, but make no qualms about it. It will happen.
yes, of course, it will. I mean, with this seed money, we can make this. We will make this happen.
Now, my other question: why have you allowed Melora to set up shop just unhindered? Of all the gods
It is difficult.
and deities,
I know. It is difficult. They are the jungle, the growing things. There are just many of her followers who are here, and I know it's frustrating, and he's very flustered.
well, I kind of stop him. I say,
Yeah.
"Don't worry about it. It's already been handled." Yeah, you remember that pail that I had you get?
Yes.
Yeah. I dealt with the Melora problem.
I mean, there are many of the followers here. Okay. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Okay. And just seems kind of worried, but seems to be trying to push those worries down.
If they come bother you, I'll handle them.
Okay. I will go find the others. Did you need them tonight? Or
As soon as possible.
I will. He kind of clutches the bag of gold and nods to himself, and then like puts it in an inside pocket in his cloak and runs off to try to find them. You gonna camp out here and wait for him? Or?
No. I'm just gonna wander around. I'm gonna swing by.
Mm-hmm.
I guess kind of walk in front of where the Melora Park is at.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna scope it out, see what their response is.
Yeah, make a perception check right over there and see what you see.
Uh, 13.
13, like, there's activity going on for sure. There's the sound of quite a few voices from inside. There isn't just one druid at the gate, but rather several armed guards and what looks like probably a couple different druids.
Are they all like elven guards or human guards? Are any of the guards
Majority elven. There's at least one that's probably half elven. There's two of the guards that are halfling.
So it doesn't look like there's any like city guards, army guards there.
No, you don't see any of the plate armored Loxodons that you've seen
Mhm.
occasionally in the rest of the city, who seem to be the main city guard.
And how many did you say I saw?
You see 5 or 6 armed, like pretty heavily armed guards, and then another 2, what you take to be either acolytes or druids or both, I guess.
Hmm.
Of course, there's a lot of other voices coming from inside. This is just at the outside, like, gate. Let the D4 decide.
I'm gonna go up and approach them.
Okay. Moving up to approach. They are on edge. And before you're like 50 feet off from the gate, like you see first one hand go to a sword and then all the hands go to the sword as one turns towards you, they all turn towards you. One of them whispers something to one of the guards, whispers something to one of the druids, and immediately you see that same crackling green energy come up in both hands of both of the druids. And one of them, an elf, male elf, steps forward and says, "Halt, excuse me. Are you the one that was here earlier?"
I pull out my shield and my axe.
All right. That's all. That's your response.
Yep. And I'm not stopping.
You hear 6 swords come out of their sheaths, and roll initiative.
15.
15. Okay. Guards.
This is a calculated risk that I'm taking.
16. What is the calculation of this risk? I'm not sure.
The calculation is I'm hoping they're not as powerful as I think.
Okay. 1 sec here. I mean, you have no idea how powerful they are, or who else might be inside for that matter. Yes. Battle. Anyway, so the druids rolled 16. 10 for the others, so they're gonna go first. I got to find it because I had put it away and I had different NPCs out. My characters. Okay. So first one. D&D Beyond, don't do this to me now. There you go. Where is... Why is... There you are. Okay. Yes. Alright, the first one... Okay, the first 2 druids, both of them extend both their hands at you. And this is not an attack roll, actually. Make a con saving throw. Twice.
That's a 16 and a 12.
Okay, so the first one you save on. The second one you do not. So the second one you take 9 poison damage as this poison spray sprays out at you, and you're able to dodge some of it, but the other one catches you.
I have to roll advantage against poison.
Ah, okay.
So that's a 27. So I actually have to roll both, sorry. So the 16 holds and then the 27.
Okay, so then you don't take any damage from it, but as you dodge through these poison sprays, go back here. It is your turn. There are 6 armed guards in front of you, 2 druids in back of them, all kind of interspersed in.
Alright. I'm just gonna keep going up to them.
Okay.
Is there anything stopping me from actually reaching the druids?
I mean, the guards are kind of slightly in front of them, but they're not like a wall or anything.
But they're close enough that I'd invoke a attack of opportunity if I
Yes, you would.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take out the guards first.
Okay. Go for it. There's 6 of them right there in front of you.
Actually, no, I'm not gonna attack first. Channel Divinity Dreadful Aspect. I'm gonna get within striking distance of the guards, and I should put everybody within 30 feet of me.
Yeah, I mean, that would.
Then I need all of them to make Wisdom saving throws.
Wisdom saving.
Spell DC of 15.
Fail. 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 Cut. Fail. Cut. Fail. Okay, the guards all fail. The Druids. There it is. Much higher wisdom. Save. And fail. So one of the druids fails, one of the druids saves. What effect does that have?
They are all frightened of me for 1 minute.
Okay. So the 6, they can't move towards you, right? And they have disadvantage on their attack rolls against you?
Which they already have disadvantage against me anyway because of my cloak.
That's right. So they have... Yeah. So
Can't have double disadvantage.
No, you can't. But wouldn't that be great? Okay. I just need to find... Where did I put... There you are. Okay.
And it also has disadvantage on any checks.
Right.
Checks and attack rolls while
Okay.
within line of sight.
All right. So, as your aura kind of overtakes them, are you attacking any of them? Because your dreadful aspect is
Yeah, channel
just
divinity.
happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that your action or is that? I don't remember.
It doesn't say. It just says. It doesn't say that it's an action. It says your oath allows you to channel divine energy to fuel magical effects. Use your channel divinity. Choose which option to use. Must then finish a short or long rest to use it again. And then dreadful okay, yeah, as an action you channel.
As an action. Okay. So that as you walk up to as you kind of jog up to them, shield and axe out, you channel it, and your whole aspect of your face to their sight anyway becomes just this terrible mask of death, and a bunch of them just, except for the one druid, the same one that had challenged you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So it is the guard's turn. There are 6 of them.
They all have to roll disadvantage.
That's right. 12 to hit.
Nope.
That's definitely not gonna hit. That's definitely not gonna hit. That's 3. That's I'm gonna switch dice. 2. So 20 to hit.
Nope.
Gosh. And 19 to hit. Alright, so none of them hit. As they're all close enough to basically hit you, but they can't come any closer necessarily. So all 6 of them are just like missing you. Okay.
Sorry. I rolled the d4 to make it the decision for me.
No, I think it's kind of interesting. And let's face it, Roland he's an assassin. He's not the most moral
this
guy
is-
on the face of the earth.
I mean, and to be fair, this is the first time I've actually come in contact with any of these followers
Yeah,
in the whole campaign so far.
yeah. So I mean, Roland.
And they're the mortal enemies of
Yeah, I
my deity.
mean, Roland would just step back and say, "This is your fight, not mine."
Yeah.
Probably grab a
As-
street taco and watch.
Yeah, and I'd prefer nobody gets involved in this because this is like, y'all don't really have a horse in this race. It's
exactly.
pretty much for me, it's my deity against
Yeah.
theirs.
Yeah, that's why Roland's gonna eat a street taco and just watch you go. Except for he's not there
He's
anyways.
not there. He's getting a drink with.
Yeah,
his
he's
friend.
getting a drink with his enemy in
Um,
front of me.
But okay, so back to the top of the round. The druid you managed to fear is going to cast Hold Person at you. Make a wisdom saving throw. Try not to use things I need an attack roll for on them.
27.
That, yeah, you beat it. You feel something try to start to hold you, and you shrug it off, and the bands of magic kind of disappear. The other is going to do something.
Those are my saving rolls.
You have very high saving rolls. I know I need to do something else.
Wow.
And then the +3 because of my aura.
Man. That's amazing. You know, sitting there thinking how we roll an act, and he would grab a street chopper. Say, I don't have a dog in this fight.
Yeah. Too bad our bard isn't here to witness this, to make a song out of it.
Yeah. Or he's singing the capital.
Yeah. He's serenading to it.
You do know that every time you do this, it's going to escalate the next time, right?
What?
Every time you do, because the first time there wasn't a lot there. This time there's this much there. The next time,
Yeah.
it's going to be like Archdruid.
That's fine. I'll take an Archdruid on.
It's gonna be like The Princess Bride. Yeah, that's which is my favorite movie. You remember that scene outside the castle?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just trick the Archdruid into drinking poison.
Yeah, it worked.
Because guess what? I can poison both of them. I'm immune to it.
No, the scene where, right before the wedding where they get all the guard, double it, and there's more guard. And he's like, what? This key?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the other one. Sorry, it took me a minute. I needed to find something. The other one kind of steps back, the one that you didn't fear, kind of wondering what's going on here. Brings his hands together, and you see a ball of energy start, and then as he brings them apart, you see 4 small figures rise up in front as he casts Conjure Woodland Beings. And you see these 4 small fey creatures, kind of humanoid in look, with these dark eyes and these little hats on, with these little beards. They're almost like
Treacherous little bastards.
kind of come up in front, and they yes, I need to make sure.
Please don't tell me they have pack tactics.
So I need to roll their initiative. So they're going to be at the end of the order, and that is that druid's turn.
Alright. That's great.
I mean,
I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna start swinging now.
Okay.
I'm for expediency's sake. I'm just gonna roll both attack rolls at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
26. So 1 crit.
And who's this against?
Whoever's nearest. I'm
you're-
obviously not in range of the druids yet.
Not
so-
yet, but it's the guard. The guards are like all around you pretty much.
So we'll just say guard 1.
Yeah, guard 1. What's the?
That's a crit. So
Okay. Roll your damage on the dice.
So I'm gonna cast a smite. Seven, 35 damage so far. Is he still alive?
He is.
Okay.
Like you hit him with that.
Well, that's not all the damage.
Okay.
That I'm rolling for the crit now. Because I was just saying, if 35 didn't kill him,
Okay.
it kills him, do I need to roll? So,
Keep going. Like they're not the greatest at hitting, but they're
39 more damage.
yeah, that kills him.
Okay, so that was the first attack.
That was the first attack. So first one down.
Yep.
That was one.
The next one was a 17. So 17 plus 9, 26 to hit.
That hits.
All right.
Let's get going.
Same deal with him. Uh, 36 damage.
36 damage. Yeah, so the second one, the first one falls, the second one you hit, he's still up, but looks pretty hurt.
Okay. That's my 2 attacks. I don't have anything else I can do, and I'm not gonna move. Well, I'll take the chance. I'm going to invoke as many attacks of opportunity as possible, and I'm going to close the distance to the one druid that is not afraid of me.
You're gonna move closer to the one that isn't afraid of you?
Correct.
Okay. So, the guards are gonna get an attack of opportunity on you.
That's fine. Still got to be at disadvantage.
Yeah, that's not gonna hit. That's not gonna hit. Third one. 20 hit.
Nope.
That's not gonna hit. And the last one. That's also not gonna hit. Alright. So none of them hit you. As they're just clanging off. I need.
Plate mail for the win.
Look at this a little closer. Oh yeah, and they're not especially high level.
Yeah, that was the calculated risk I
That's
took.
calculator is. The druids are higher level.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to get to them, because I'm great against people that attack me with swords and shit, but spellcasters, you know, I'm more
Yes.
prone to getting damaged by them.
Okay. So none of them hit you, and you're up in front of the one, and that's your turn, right?
Correct.
Okay. It is therefore the. Okay, so it's their turn now.
And also, if I'm out of range of the guards,
They can't go to
they cannot come to me.
Yeah. So you're out of. I mean, so they are all just. Let's see. What can they do? They don't have a whole lot they can do. They each have a hand axe. So that's what they're gonna do. So it's advantage. 20 doesn't hit. Also doesn't hit. Doesn't hit. Doesn't hit. And 5 doesn't hit. Okay. 5 hand axes.
Just come flying my way.
And you are just as you're just charging up to the one that doesn't. It is now the Darklings' turn.
Yeah.
So the 4 of them
Dark little bastard.
rush up to you. Each one of them is going to make a. There they are. A hit at you. They each, as they're running up to you from their little, like rough belts, they take out a little dagger and they're gonna stab at you.
They still have to roll at disadvantage. Because of my
Because your
cloak.
cloak. Yeah. Alright, that is a 9 to hit. Nope.
Now
That
you're
is
seeing how I
a.
built my character.
I already knew from way back that your character was not like
20 to hit.
flowers and daisies.
Yeah,
and
no.
peace
That
loving.
doesn't hit. And
Yeah.
that doesn't hit. But yeah, so they all miss you.
Just I'm just kicking them out of the way. Just get away. Little ankle biters.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wondered what your character was going to get up to. Roland had his suspicions.
Yeah,
He's.
Okay.
Are you going to over?
there's very few things that I can't tolerate, that Gundar can't tolerate.
Yeah.
And anything to do with Melora is one of them.
She wasn't a dragon.
There are
in her
reasons
spirit
for
time, was
this.
No, she is one of the prime. She's the prime deity that killed
Yeah.
my god.
she? Ah, man.
Well, like, kind of on this
Yeah.
plane.
On this plane, yeah.
Yeah.
That banished him from this plane.
Yeah. Okay. That's their turn. Back to the top. It's the druid's turn. The one is going to. The one that you just ran up to is going to. Having trouble on those saves. So what does he want to do?
But man, it's tempting.
And he piss off a druid. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I think I should be the one that's sorry. I don't think you were quite planning to have a.
No, I was not. There we go. Alright, the one that you ran up to transforms itself into a direwolf. As you're watching, just the form ripples and down onto all fours, and there's a wolf at the shoulders about as tall as you are.
Mm-hmm.
At the eyes. And that. Yeah, let me make sure something here. Yep, that's gonna. Because that is. That's all they can do that turn, but they are now a direwolf. The other one is going to. Too many saves. Why did I build so many saves into these guys? Can't go near you, but it's gonna once again cast something at you. Gonna cast Thorn Whip at you, and this long thorn seems to extend out of their hand as they kind of. It tries to wrap around you, and there we go. And it is at disadvantage because it's an attack. That's 12.
No, sorry.
Okay. So it doesn't manage to wrap around you. It kind of clangs off your metal plate armor. That druid, as it was a little bit off to the other side, starts to back away.
Okay.
Back into the compound for their movement. So that's 35 feet. It takes the whole 35 feet.
Okay.
Okay, your turn. You're in front of the one that just turned into a direwolf.
Both attacks on it.
Okay.
So 17 and 15.
17 and 15, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they both hit.
Okay. So attack number 1. I'm upping my spell slot to increase the damage from smite.
Okay.
$37 damage from the first attack.
Okay. As that happens, the form that just so recently changed, you slice into it and blood seems to start coming out and it shifts back into the form of the elf.
Okay. Well, the second attack is on the elf then.
Yes.
2, 4, 32 more damage.
Okay. Okay. staggers back, just like a step, pretty hurt. It's now the guards. They all run back into the.
Do they run past me?
They do not. They like, because it's a fairly wide gate. They just, because they can't run towards you, so they can't run past you.
But didn't I go? So weren't they out?
They were
I
out
went
of it.
through them.
You went through them to get to this guy, so they.
So aren't we?
They're
Aren't
out.
me and that druid kind of in the gate?
Yeah, but it's not like it's a pretty good sized gate.
Okay.
Like it's a ways across, so they like angle across and like they're just running away. The 4 Darklings. Yeah. No. And no. They can't stab you, but they're just running around. It was all a disadvantage, but so I was
Yeah.
like, but none of them would have hit anyway. So
I'm trying to remember what conjure. That's not like a channel ability at all, is it?
it is it's a concentration check. I'm gonna make them a concentration check. They failed, so they all.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I haven't played a druid in so long.
Yeah,
I
I know.
don't remember.
That's a tough one. So, yeah, they disappear.
Okay.
Should have gone with the sea hag. Oh well. And the druid in front of you is just kind of reeling, but still up. And as they disappear, it comes their turn, the druid's turn. He's gonna try one more time, do something. What do I got here? No. Yeah, I'm not doing that. He's just gonna run,
I'm gonna chase him.
hoping that you don't. Yeah, so this druid has 35 feet of movement. As he runs away, you do get an attack of opportunity on their turn.
I'm gonna try and grapple him.
Okay. Well, you would need a. So you couldn't grapple as an attack opportunity, though.
Okay.
On the turn, like if you
Can I do an unarmed strike?
you could do an unarmed strike at him if you wanted to. What are you trying to do?
Trying to knock them out or incapacitate them.
I mean, you could take the full strike, and if you knock them unconscious, just tell me that you don't want to kill them, and they would just go unconscious.
Yeah, then
You have that ability.
28.
All right. Oh gosh, that hits. What's the damage you take?
$25 damage.
Right, it doesn't knock him. It's close, very close. Like it's just like limping away as they get away.
I'll just add on the smite to the end of it.
How much?
37 total.
Total. Yeah, as they're trying to run away and turn, you strike across and they fall. As you like hit them on the back of the head with the flat of your axe, and just blood is seeping out, but they're still breathing.
Okay.
The others have rushed, and you hear loud, like a crowd coming from inside.
I grab him by the ankle and I start dragging him towards my shrine.
Okay.
Since everybody else ran away like cowards.
All right. All right, so you're dragging them away. You could move at half speed doing that. You do hear, and eventually looking back, see people start to gather. One central figure, especially this older-looking, looks like elf with a staff, is kind of looking towards you and starts leading a group of people after you. They'll eventually catch up with you if you keep going like this. It's up to you what you want to do. Because it's a ways, like you're dragging them through the streets, but it's like without dragging them, it's probably a 15-minute walk. So it's going to be like a half an hour dragging them through the street, and within a block, they're going to catch up to you. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna keep dragging him.
Okay. Within a couple rounds, let's see. 4 rounds. Yeah.
If they come within 30 feet of me, they still have to make a wisdom
Make a
saving throw.
wisdom save. All right, this guy. That is a 26
Yeah, he saves.
save. A bunch of the others fall back, kind of fall back a little bit, and they're now going your speed. Like they can't move any closer to you. A few are able to stay with them, but they're even holding back. This one though, in just these very simple light green robes, this old-looking elf is with a staff is just moving towards you. It doesn't seem to be like now is within like 20 feet of you. Isn't necessarily doing anything, but as you're watching, like it seems to raise his other hand, and little lights, like almost like fireflies, start to come out of it, circling him out to about 15 feet, and like this just cloud of. And as he comes near you with this, like within 15 feet of you. Oh, make a wisdom saving throw.
It's not poison or disease, is it?
It is not.
Okay. Wisdom. 28.
28. Okay, you save on that one. So you take half damage. Where How many? D8s, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, you take 17 radiant damage down to 8 radiant damage. Yeah. As he's like.
As a reaction, I'm gonna cast a 3rd level Hellish Rebuke at him.
Third level Hellish Rebuke.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what does it gotta do?
Dexterity save.
Dex save. That's a 10.
He fails.
Alright.
So he takes full damage.
Go for it.
$27 damage.
27 damage. Okay.
And that's fire damage.
Okay, 27 fire damage. As you stretch back, taking your damage, doing damage to them, they kind of, but keep walking forward. It's your turn. Because I'm basically giving him the same initiative as them. Yeah. So we're just trading off now.
I guess I'm just gonna drop the foot of the guy I'm dragging, and I'm gonna go head to head with what I'm assuming is the Archdruid.
I mean, it seems Archdruidish. There's something different about the power they're wielding, but you're not quite sure.
I'm gonna go head to head to him. I'm just gonna close the gap.
I mean, he's only 15 feet off.
Yep.
Go for it. What are you just gonna hit him?
Yep. I'm gonna straight up swing my axe at him.
Okay.
So, attack number 1 is 24,
That'll hit.
and attack number 2 is 13.
Attack number 2 is 13.
Yep.
That does not hit. So you hit with 1.
Yep.
Roll your damage, and then make a dex saving throw.
Mm-hmm. 45 damage.
Yeah, I mean, you hurt him with that one. Like, he stumbles back, but as he does, lightning seems to flash out of him and arcs into your body. Make a dex saving throw. That fails, and you take 6 lightning damage.
I take 3.
You take 3.
I'm naturally resistant to it
Actually, it is okay.
because of my shield.
Sorry about that. And I'm just trying to find stuff. There they are. Also, you start your turn within range of this. You have to make another wisdom saving throw. We can do that on the next turn. I forgot this time.
Well,
So.
then we have to keep trading them off.
Yeah, no.
Because he has to make one, I have to make one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, yeah, it's
So
a
wisdom
it's an
saving
area
throw?
effect. Yeah, it's a wisdom saving throw. Yeah.
24.
All right. That's a save. You only take half. So that's 13 down to 6 of radiant damage.
Alright.
And then he has to do one too.
Yep.
That is a very high 30.
Yeah.
Alright.
What's the lowest he could potentially roll?
14.
Yeah, there's no point in him rolling then.
Okay.
Because to save, it's a 15.
So he's. Well, I mean, if he rolled a 1, he would have a 14. So he might roll a 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see here. There it is.
Sorry. Hogging the doll
Oh,
up.
that's
It-
alright. It's interesting.
it
but I just
happens.
realized I forgot to feed my dog. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
shit.
Yeah, she's got to be good. Here, we're going to finish up real soon. Here.
No, this is really pretty interesting.
Oh, I like to finish myself. Yes. No. Yes. No. Sorry, there's just so much here.
I'm wondering if Sue's rolling it and figure out what's going on because I'm sure the shaking. Somebody's going to run.
I mean,
back
there's
grasp and tell us
stuff
what's
going on here. Yeah.
Yes, just some figure rolling someplace going on.
Yeah, because we're kind of in the city streets now.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, I'm sure Roland will find out about it in a few minutes and probably just keep drinking.
Yeah, because isn't the tavern bar pretty close to?
Yeah, I think it is. No, I don't know. It's about a 15-minute walk, I think. Wasn't it?
You're ways off. You're not real close, but I mean, you might be able to hear some of this.
No,
going
I
on.
figured the Clasp has informants out on the street.
I mean, maybe
So,
they might not totally run in for this, but
I don't know, that dwarf that was here earlier today?
so as you're watching, like a spectral mace appears off to the side of you, at the same time as. Oh gosh, what are they gonna do? Like one hand with the staff goes out to one side. At the same hand, he puts out towards you, not quite touching you. Make another wisdom saving throw.
26.
All right. Yes. You feel like your body wants to once again, just like one of the druids had done on you, want to tighten up, but it releases you, and you're like, he was trying to hold you with something. And that's his turn. Go ahead.
One question.
Yeah.
Is the aura around him concentration?
Yes. Sorry, I had to find Spirit Guardians, but yes.
Because I did hit him. So.
He saves.
Okay. Alright, 2 more attacks on him.
Okay.
So that's a 17 and a 16.
17 and 16. 1 second here. They both miss.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's got a higher armor class. In fact, yeah. In fact, as you try to hit, one of them grazes off, and as his robe kind of sweeps to the side, you see this kind of belly shining chainmail underneath. Like he's pretty good. Also make a wisdom saving throw for your turn as the whirling.
That one's a fail.
Okay, so
Pretty sure 4 plus. Yeah, that'd be a 14.
yeah, it fails. So you take 12 radiant damage. As his turn starts, the spectral-looking mace that was kind of floating next to you, just takes a swing at you.
Disadvantage.
It does have disadvantage. Yeah, so it does not hit you. Close, but yeah, it does not hit you. And that was not all of it. Sadie. All right. At this point, he puts out a hand again. It just says, "Flee."
Is he trying to frighten me?
No, but it says make a wisdom saving throw. It is not frightening. It is command. It is cast it.
That's a 19.
Just makes it. Just saves. His spell DC is 19.
Oh shit! That was a close one.
So yeah, and you feel it like you want to run away suddenly, like not in a scared way, but just you feel the compulsion, and you shake it off. And he kind of frowns at you. It's your turn.
2 more swings at him.
All right.
So, dirty 20 and a 19.
Dirty 20 hits, 19 does not.
All right, well, I'm going full bore with smite then.
Do it.
.44 damage.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you cutting across, you miss with the one, come into the other, like you get him a little bit here, and it rips a line across just where the collarbone is. As you do, lightning once again strikes out at you. Make a dex saving throw.
$22.
So that saves. So you take half of 9 and then half of that. So
4.
2.
Yeah.
2 lightning damage. Yeah. Alright. As you finish your turn, it's now his turn. He makes a wisdom saving throw because of your aura. 18. That's age, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
15 is my
15
DC.
your DC, yeah. That's what I thought. The spiritual weapon takes a swing at you. Disadvantage. That's like yeah, it was like a 12 to hit, so that does not hit. And gosh, this is this is gonna take a long, like, because you're hurting him some, but then yeah. I need something big that's just gonna...
I am hitting him with a magical weapon. So
Yes.
if he has magic resistance, that's...
Also, no, that's it. Because he can't save, so. Concentration. He does not. He doesn't have any resistances. I don't know why I built it like that. Yeah. Yeah, he's just gonna. I mean, sure, why not? He's gonna look over at you and just reach out and touch your shoulder. Make a melee spell attack at disadvantage. It's a natural one. And you feel something start to come over you, and it doesn't. It felt really weird. So, there's that. All right, your turn. Make a wisdom saving throw.
21.
All right, so you take half of 17, so 8 radiant damage from the guardians that are whirling about around you.
And that is concentration, right?
Yeah, like I rolled for the last one.
Okay.
I rolled a natural 20 for the last one.
Okay. 2 more attacks at him.
All right, go on ahead.
I missed both of them.
Just
3 and a 4.
All right. All right.
Retiring those.
Coming
guys.
back up. He's gonna. Gosh. All right. At disadvantage, that is a 21 to hit you with a spiritual weapon.
Nope.
That does not hit you. He's gonna reach out again and try to hit you. Once again with that, and that is a 22 to hit.
Nope.
So he misses you with both of those. Back to you. Make a wisdom saving throw. Wait, okay,
20.
20. You're. So you would only take once again. You take half of 14 radiant damage, so 7 radiant damage.
Alright. 2 more attacks.
Trading off. This is like, and the people around him have kind of like gathered in back of him, but are like afraid, like they're just watching you trade lightning fly, and you're just 2 more attacks. What do you got?
27 and 21.
They both hit. What kind of check for both those? Save and save.
$35 damage on the first attack.
35. Okay.
36 damage on the second attack.
Okay. For both of those,
So that's what, 71 total, and then
make a dex saving.
so I'll make 2 dex saves.
Big. Like he's looking hurt.
So that's a 26 on the first one and 12 on the second.
Okay, that's a fail and a save. So the first one, the fail, you take 8 lightning damage down to 4.
Yep.
The second one, you take 8 lightning damage down to 2.
So 6 total.
Yeah.
Alright.
All right. We're gonna get this done.
Still not even bloody.
I know. I've been sitting thinking you've got like, because I know you have that really high.
136 health.
Holy cow!
And then my lay on hands pull for, I'm probably at like 210 total health if I use my entire lay on hands.
Holy cow! Yeah, I remember that time that Roland got a little annoyed with you with the knife around your throat, and I thought, oh God, what have I done?
Okay. At this point, Ada's getting angry. Takes one more swing at you with. It's a 19 to hit with the spiritual weapon. But he just slams down his what's it called? Staff. Thank you. And you feel the air, like he just, as he does, he takes like one step back, and between you feel the air like crackle with almost static electricity, and all around you just crackle with static electricity. And you realize that suddenly the air kind of feels stale around you, like there's no more air moving. As he does this, all those fireflies and everything that were swirling around just suddenly wink out of existence.
I'm in trouble.
I mean, what do you
no, I'm in danger.
I'm in danger.
Okay. Yeah, as this is happening, a few other people, like older elves and a human and a couple of halflings in the same kind of robes he is, have come forward, like, and started to move towards you out of the crowd. Putting a hand out, you can still technically be an initiative because I know it's your turn, but there is, like, putting a hand out, it's almost like there's an invisible wall all around you as he has cast Wall of Force at you in a dome. And it is holding you there. Like, you could back up, but you're pretty sure you can find another part of the wall there, just a little bit before the elf you have been dragging. And as he does this, he looks at you and says, "Go away."
I'm gonna intimidate him.
Okay.
I'm not going anywhere, and it's gonna end with either you beating me or me beating you, and I have no intent on giving up. So unless you want to be a pansy and keep this shield up because you're losing, then I'll take all of you on.
And then he kind of smiles and then kind of gestures to the ones that just walked up behind him. Go ahead and make an intimidation roll. We'll see how sure of himself he was on that smile.
19. Thank God it was at advantage because I rolled a 1.
I mean, he kind of, as he does even, he kind of frowns at you. Still, he doesn't drop it. Do you want to take your turn to do something?
I'm gonna swing with all my might at this shield.
It, like, you do, and it just like just bounces off. Like, you can feel like the ring in your hands, like it stings.
mean, there's nothing I can do otherwise. I mean, I don't have counterspell. I don't have any spells to.
Okay. One of the other two raises, or one of the other several that come out of the crowd raises a hand, and the unconscious body of the elf you've been dragging floats up in the air and starts to move back into the crowd. As it does, its hands come up for it, and it kind of disappears.
Can I use a reaction?
Yeah, if you have something that's a reaction. I mean, it takes long enough. Like it's not a very fast movement, so we're kind of in initiative, but not right now because
I'm gonna try and put. I'm gonna do Hellish Rebuke.
Okay. On who? Or on the one that cast the.
On him.
Yeah, go for it. It's a save.
He needs to make a dex save.
Dex save. That is a 16.
Alright, he saves, so we'll take half damage.
Okay.
$21 damage. So 10.
Yeah. Okay, so 10 damage, and he saves on his con checks. So it keeps going. He got the pain, but brings it through. The others, two others step forward as the one is still holding the kind of shield of force in place. One puts both hands forward and makes the sign of the evil eye at you. Make a charisma saving throw.
$27.
Alright, so you save. The other makes, you're not sure what movement at you. Make another charisma saving throw.
$24.
Also save. On this one, on the first one you weren't sure what's going on. On this one you feel something start to pull you out of reality. And suddenly you kind of snap back and you stumble for a second. Yeah. I mean, it's in a bit of a standoff. I don't know what you want to do.
I mean,
It's
the
back
only
up to your
thing,
turn.
the
It's
only
back up to your
option,
turn, yeah.
only option I have is to keep arguing about using a reaction to cast Hellish Rebuke.
I mean, because you can do that once per round.
Yeah.
You
And
already
now
did it
it's
for that
come
round.
back and
it's come back to you. You could do it after, but yeah. I mean, what do you want to do now?
Crown of Madness on him.
Okay.
He needs to make a Wisdom saving throw. I'm hoping he rolls a 1.
You rolled a natural 19.
Yeah, he
Plus
saves.
13. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Alright, I mean, the rest of them just keep looking at you.
I said the only thing I can argue is
Yeah.
using Hellish Rebuke as a reaction since he's casting
Yeah.
this at me.
Mm.
Then every round that it's up, I should be able to react to that being up.
Well, it's not, it is up. You still, somebody has to make... I'm not sure. We're gonna decide this, and I think
I'm
we're
not gonna be able to.
Yeah, I was gonna say. 24, that damaged you is momentarily surrounded. One reaction which you take in response to being damaged by a creature. Yeah, he's not damaging you right now. He's holding. He's has a wall of force in place to hold you within kind of a 10-foot radius.
My last cast of Crown of Madness, then I guess, since I can't do.
Okay. 16 plus 13.
Yep, he saves.
And that is. Just 1 second. I want to make sure something. How far is that?
Oh, I'm not beating on him. I'm just glaring
Oh,
at
I
him.
know.
Like,
I'm just like,
I'm
I
pissed.
don't care.
He's too much of a coward to fight me.
Maybe he's just too savvy.
I mean, he definitely gave you a little bit of a look, but he there we go. I don't want to.
Better survive coward than a hero.
I mean, that's definitely Roland's. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's my theory.
Sorry, I'm just looking. There it is. All right. Yeah. He and the rest of the people start backing away. The clerics or druids that you're seeing start backing away, leaving you in place. Eventually, when they're a little bit more 100, 120 feet away, you feel suddenly movement of air again, and it's no longer stale.
100 or 120 feet away?
120 feet.
I'm gonna pick the closest armed person to that archdruid,
Okay.
and I'm gonna cast Crown of Madness on him.
Okay, there's a couple guards in the. It's like just barely on the edge, but
So they needs to make a wisdom saving throw.
I mean they rolled a natural 19.
Shit.
So they one of them kind of shakes his head and looks over at you. But at that point,
That was my
the
last-
rest of them are
That was
starting
my
to-
last huzzah. Was hoping I could charm it and then force it to attack him.
Yeah. But the rest of them, as they move up, back in, and eventually closing the gates, like you shook them. Like it was kind of an archdruid cleric kind of combination there at the end. But
Yeah. I was really hoping to sacrifice him too.
I figured that's where that other druid was headed.
Yeah, I was going to take him to the altar and make him either convert or die.
yeah, there's gonna be some. Now that you've pissed off a bunch of people, we'll see what happens next time.
Hell, this town has no consequence to me. I don't care what happens in it.
I mean, like I said, escalation. Yeah.
I missed the fun last session. I had to make a splash somehow.
This is true. You did.
And you handed it to me perfectly because, like, I hate Melora.
I mean, I said Malore's a big thing here in the jungle, so. Yeah. I need to find. So there's two groups around there. One you know about, that's angry with you, and one that you heard about, but Gundar didn't hear about. That's not necessarily happy with you.
With me?
Well, there was a familiar symbol on a wall that he saw. That
I'm not aware of.
That you're not aware of, and as well as several armored dwarves. With matching hammers.
Yes,
they're-
my former deity.
They're fun guys.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I used to be one of them.
Later, y'all. All right,
Later.
y'all. Have a good one.